Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about rulers and the measurements on them so that you have a more accurate measurement when you're having to measure things.
And a better understanding.
Then you'll be able to understand it better when we're done.
Yeah, okay. We have a couple of rulers here. I'll try to explain to you. All the rulers are the same except one of them has more marks on it than another. I blew it up a little bit. This is 1 inch. First little mark on there, second little mark. As you see them, each mark is longer. Same way on here. From here to here is 1 inch. Half of that is a 1/2 inch. That's the next longest line. Between a 1/2 inch and the starting of the ruler is another line, a little bit shorter. That's a 1/4 inch, so that means there's 4 of them to an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next little line is a little, you'll see a line going through it so you can depict which one is which, is a 1/16. I mean an 1/8. There's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them to an inch. The number doubles because you got that many more lines in there. The next one is a 1/16, which means there's 16. It's divided into 16 parts in the inch. If you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a 1/4 inch, and there's 4 of them, so 4 times 4 is 16. If you cut that 16 in half, it's 32. That means there's 32 little marks going from here all the way up to 1 inch. There's 32 of them. I just blew it up so you could understand it. This is 1 inch from here to here. So half of that would be the next longest line, which is a 1/2 inch. The next line is a 1/4 inch. You can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 1/8 of an inch, there's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then a 1/16. I mean, there's 16 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is a 1/2 inch. The other 1/2 inch is another 8. That's 16 of them. This is a different kind of ruler. This ruler is the same way. Each line is a hair longer than the next one, as you see it. It's the same thing. If you compare this ruler to that ruler, both rulers are the same. They both do the same measurement. As you can see, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. This one only goes down to 1/16. That means from the end of the ruler to the first mark is a 1/16. And as you go up to the ruler, you'll see the different markings on there. All the rulers are basically the same. We'll get that out of the way. I got this little kit here. I think it was $1.50 or $2 at the dollar store. But it's pretty accurate when you want to go to measurements. This is a 90 degree. This is 45 and a 45. Both of these 45s make a 90. Okay. Here's this one. This one's 30 and 60. 30 and 60 is a 90. Okay. And here's your ruler. Same thing on this. Got a little ruler on there. If you marked it against this ruler or the other ruler, it's both the same. Only this one starts here. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. They're all marked out the same. This one here, it wasn't printed on there very good, so it's probably wore off. Same way with this one. Little 1 inch mark, same thing. 1, 2, 3 inch. And they use that for drafting and things like that, but they're better quality for people that use it for that purpose. And here's one is the 45. So if you notice, see how the mother box is? It's 45. And same way with the other side. It's 45. And that makes a 90 degree angle. If you got a corner, you make that corner, that would be a 45. That's where it goes.
As you can see, the corner of your house is a 45. So if you need to figure out that corner, then it should match up with that. So if you're cutting something that has to be cut at a 45, then you could potentially use this on your paper. Also, this one is a 45. Now, if you notice, when you flip it around the other way, it's not going to give you that same angle. Okay, so if you watched the tutorial on the angles, we showed you how to get the angle using a piece of paper for molding and trim. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and go back and watch that if you need that kind of help. But this is the same piece of paper, and we're using that to show you this.
I'm trying to find the end of the paper here. The angle that we were using on that piece of paper was 22.5 degrees. Trying to find the end of the paper. If you were curious about the angle in the Dollhouse, it has that slant. This was the angle for the miter that we were talking about, how to miter that corner. If you take a protractor, which you can get at the dollar store, that's where I got this one at, you put this point, even with that point, right there, and make sure it's in a straight line with the end of this thing here, right? And if you go up to here, you'll see it's 22.5 degrees. The long lines are 5, 10, 15, 20, and the small one are 1 degree. There's 1, 2.5. So it's 22.5 degree angle. The 22.5 and 22.5 is 45. It's a 45 degree angle. It's half of the 45 degree angle. So you got 22.5 degrees that you want on each one. Unfortunately, the miter boxes only come with a 90 and a 45 left and a 45 right. So you have to make an additional cut in your miter box, and you can use the protractor to do that by laying your protractor up against there. Lay your protractor up against there and put it, the black line, the bottom of the black line, even with the inside edge, and you'll come up here 22.5 degrees, and that's what we did here. And you cut that angle on there.
Okay, we also, when we cut it, so we didn't get confused with the 45s that are already on here, I took a paint pen, which you can use a Sharpie or a regular marker or whatever, and I painted it gold so that I know that that's a 22.5. You can write on your miter box or whatever. I know they have these in plastic and metal or steel or whatever. You're only going to be able to cut through the plastic or the wood ones.
But the plastic and the wood ones that you buy don't have 22.5. Unless you have a miter saw. If you have a miter saw, you can set the miter saw at 22.5. But miter boxes don't come with 22.5. In the way of the light. Okay. If you're not sure how to read the miter, the protractor, I told you this was 90. So if you put that on there, you'll see, put it against that bottom line, that's a 90 degree angle. If you wanted the 22.5 degree angle, you go by this inside mark, 10, 20, 22.5 would be right in here. 1, 2, and then half of it is right there. I went this way because it's easier. 5, 10, 15, 20, 1, 2.5 would be right in there between those two. This is a 60-degree angle. Like I told you, this was 60. Put it on that mark. I'm going to turn it the other way so you can see it. You put it on that mark right down there, that bottom line, and you'll see it comes out to where the 60 is. The other angle was 30. Turn it over. It's easier to read. That was 60. What the hell way am I going here? 30. That's 30. You can get down in there. Here's a 30. Okay. Do it that way, it'd be easier to see it. See the 30? Right there. You go this way, it's 30. Over on this side. Alright, these numbers starting from 0, you'll see it says 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 90. Now, half of that would be 45. 45 would be 40 plus half between this way, 40 and 45. Each one of these little marks is a 1. So it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you just go on up till you get to 22 and a half for that one angle. The half would be in between the two slash marks. These are 10 degrees on the inside. So it'd be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. If it goes past 90, it would be 100. 80, 90, 110, 120, 130, 140, all the way up to 180. 180 is a half of a circle. And that's about, if you learn that, then you have everything under control.
Okay, so we took the angle and that's how we determined this here. And if you see that they meet perfect, and we used all of the things that we just showed you to determine that, along with a sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to show you how this is real quick and how this little measurement plays into effect. Alright, so make sure you have a straight edge. Then you're going to go along here. Take your fingernail or something that's sharp, like a pencil, with a sharp edge. And then that's going to give you that angle for that. Okay, so now we've given you the wall angle. Now you're going to fold it completely in half on that mark.
And then in half again.
Yep.
Now, show them how that plays into that angle. So it fits. Now I'm going to show you where your miter comes in at.
Okay, now that's how it's folded.
Okay, now you fold it in half a second time. Taking this edge that you drew the pencil line on. There's your pencil line. Now we're taking that edge, going from this point right here, going from that point, right where that point is, we're going to line these edges up again. To make it nice and easy for you. It looks like it there. And this is your miter angle. The angle of your miter. This is one part of the wall, your miter. The other part of the wall would be this way, and this is your miter.
Okay, so basically when you got that folded, and pretend like this is a piece of wood going right up in here.
Can't see it, what you're doing.
just like that. That's going to be the angle of your miter. The miter meaning the between spot in between where the two pieces of wood meet.
You cut the angle, you're going to cut it.
Okay.
I'm just marking this angle on a piece of paper here.
Okay, so basically the miter angle that he just did was the angle that we had in the dollhouse that's going to meet that corner. He transferred that to the piece of wood. And if you can see, he drew the line right on there. Has it flat against the bottom, and then traced it.
No, I ain't gonna be too. Why don't we, which one did I do? I did this one, right? All right.
Now he'll cut it.
Well, I mean.
Again, this is the 22.5 angle.
Cut it back here, because it's 22.5. I'm gonna cut it here. That way I can use both pieces. Should be able to. Now what I did here was I took the 22.5 degree angle that we put on this miter box that we showed you where it was marked at, and I cut right down through it. Now to prove to you that it is 22.5, I said that was 45. So if I flip this one over, right, 22.5 and 22.5 is 45. That should fit right in there because that's a 45 degree angle. So see if
and there it is. Now, if this was your trim that went up on the ceiling all the way around, then that would have worked out perfect for you.
22.5, 22.5, it's 45, and that's what that angle is.
Okay, now just to show you that this works on both sides of your wall when you have a 22 or if you're doing a 45 degree that is like straight in the corner. You can take this, transfer it over to here, and flip it over. As soon as I can get my hands working. And there you have it. And it matches that way too. The angle was determined exactly how we just showed you. There's another whole tutorial on the angles and everything if you want to look at that for cutting the molding or seal and trim. But these angles here can be quite tricky, especially when you have a 22 degree cut you need to make and you have a miter saw that only has a 45. So hopefully this was helpful and hopefully you understand the ruler measurements a little bit easier. And we'll see you next time. Follow Dollhouse Miniature Madness and tutorials on Facebook for more DIY. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.